we teach our 14-year-olds to 18-year-olds that can make them be ready to face the real world? It seems like most of the time we are creating job seekers rather than job creators. And that's why you find like the unemployment rate in this country is quite high, because we don't have any job creators. What we have more is job seekers. Yeah. And you find that when they're through with their high school, we are more focused on their career path more than how are they going to face the real world. Are they ready to face the real world? So the best thing to work on is to work on their mindset, to enable them face the real world. And these are not taught in schools. So today I'm going to talk about 12 things that schools would teach them to face the real world. Number one, how to sell. Schools will not teach them how to sell, and yet they sell every day. When they go out to face the world, they'll look for jobs, they'll go for job interviews, and this is all selling. Yeah, they'll and they always sell. Yeah, when they are dating, they are selling. When they are going and talking to other people, that is sales and persuasion. So every day they are always selling. So to make them ready to face the real world, they have to learn how to sell or practice how to sell, because they're already doing it. And then number two, how taxes work. They won't teach you how taxes work in schools. They would teach you that you have to pay. Maybe when you come, the first job that you go to, you start paying taxes. So how would this work for them? When you start a business, you'll pay taxes. You'll pay taxes for your employees. You'll pay taxes, the corporate tax. You'll pay VAT. When you go to the shop, you buy an item, you are paying taxes. So all these we have to show them and let them know that this is how taxes work. And this is how to ensure that you make these taxes work for you. And these are never taught in schools. And then number three, how to lead. They have to learn how to lead. If they're able to know how to lead, they'll be able to also lead themselves. And these are never taught in schools. And they won't be taught in these schools. So when they go out there, how do they lead? How can they lead their teams? How can they lead themselves? How can they follow their values? What is right? What is wrong? What is the right leadership? What is the wrong leadership? These are never taught in schools. And these are things which, if schools were to teach, then they would be ready to face the real world. And then number four, how money works. These are never taught in schools. How do they budget for this money? How can they live below their means? How can they save? How can they make this money work for them? How can they have multiple incomes so that they can be able to manage around their living? These are never taught in school, but these are things that happen in real life. Yeah. So how can we ensure that they are able to face the real life and make their money work for them? This is not taught in schools. And then number five, how to negotiate. This one comes with sales. Yeah, because when you're selling, you're negotiating. And even as parents, when you're talking to our children, you find that sometimes they negotiate. Maybe they used to negotiate. They negotiate for toys. They negotiate. Maybe they want to go to a movie. Yeah, so they have to negotiate. Like if they have to go to a movie, what do they have to negotiate around it to ensure they get this money to go to the movie? So these are things that happen in real life, but they are not taught in schools. And then number six, how to start a business. This, if they can even do it in school practically, where they do practicals, they do practicals on how to start a business, how to sell. They can even come with an item. They give the students for the high schoolers to try to sell. They form a team, they get the prize, and then they try to sell so that they practice the dynamics of running a business. If they could only do this in school, this would help them face real life. It gives their mindset thoughts to think out of the box and look at it from their own perspective on how a business is run. And this would help them in real life. And then number seven, how to think for yourself. This will help them. These are never taught in schools, and comes in when it comes to peer pressure. How can they avoid going for illegal drinks? How can they avoid smoking? How can they avoid doing things which are not related to their values? How can they think for themselves without being manipulated by peer pressure? And this one would be taught in schools. Number 8, how to take risks. When you're growing up, you're always being told, don't touch this, don't go there, don't do this. So it created a fear in us of taking risks. So how can this be brought up? Because this one would be taught in school. To to change that mindset to a space where taking risk is normal. Going out of their way to do something, being creative, trying something that you've never tried before, taking risks is is given that leeway so that these high schoolers are comfortable in taking these risks. How can it be encouraged so that when they face the real life, they're able to take risks without the fear that was already there in them? And then number 9, how to process issues. This one won't be taught in school, but it's important in real life. How will they process issues? How, when they have issues, they have problems, how do they go around it? How do they manage around it? How do they solve it? This one won't be taught in school, but this is very important in real life. And then number 10, how to make millions. This one they can even do it practically. In the school, I believe you might find there are 60 students, 100 students, and all of them have parents, some who are in business, some who are working in the corporate, some who are really prospering in real life. If they can only come in and take these high schoolers through the process of how they managed to make these millions, where they started, what they went through, how they went from step 1 to where they are now. It won't change everybody, but it will give them that perspective. It will make them think out of the box. The ones who will be able to absorb can be able to use this in real life. Yeah. And then number 11, conflict resolution. In real life, there are always conflicts. So how can they resolve these conflicts when they occur? What is the process of solving these conflicts? There can be family conflicts, can be work conflicts, can be even conflicts are all over. But how will they solve these conflicts when they occur? Because in real life, you can never avoid conflicts. So how you solve the conflict is very important. And then number 12, how to deal with failure. How do they deal with failure? Because failures you cannot avoid in real life. Yes, they are always taught how to deal with wins, but how to deal with failures, we are never taught. How to deal with rejection, how to deal with a business that you started and then it did not work as you expected. How do you go through that? How to deal with a business deal that was supposed to go through and it never worked. How do you deal with that? These ones won't be taught in school, but this happens in real life. These are 12 things that schools won't teach you, but they are very important in real life. So if you want to get more insights on life and business, please subscribe to my YouTube channel.